When someone is on the verge of having an affair, whether emotionally or physically, they usually give out warning signs. And if we're able to see these warning signs, because it is difficult, they're very subtle, and just one of them is not enough to actually get a gut feeling or think, wow, what's going on? But if you notice several of these patterns in your relationship, more than two, then I would sit down with my partner, start a dialogue, start discussing, tell them what you've noticed. Don't accuse them, but rather just open the discussion to what's going on in the relationship. Sometimes people will actually cry for help, and they'll cry for help by exhibiting many of these all at once. And I'm using that word quite loosely. They're really trying to get caught before it happens. There's something in them that they really don't want to do what they're going to do, but unless someone else notices or calls them or actually holds them accountable, many times they're too weak and they will just go through with it. So let's just go through some of these patterns. Number one, they're more attentive to your needs than usual. They'll usually do this because they feel guilty. Number two, they buy you gifts, lots of gifts, like it's excessive, it's out of character. Behavior that leaves you with a gut feeling like there's something going on. Frequently picks fights with you. This is because they're trying to prove to themselves that you really are a bad person. Fights also are a way to help a person feel vindicated in what they're going to do. Constantly talks about your relationship ending during conflict. They're basically setting it up, and then they start asking, what would you do? What would you do if I weren't around? Becomes very moody, more moody than normal. Now, a lot of my clients have told me, well, they were always kind of moody anyway. You'll start seeing a different kind of moodiness. That's all I can say. It's usually acute. It goes on maybe for 3 weeks. That's when to ask them about it. They never talk to you. Like basically they've kind of closed down that barrier between the two of you. Sudden changes in music taste. They're listening to different music. Someone else is in their sight, and they basically are sharing music or other interests. This is the pattern many times, and I'm giving you what happens the majority of the time. They lack self-esteem. They start feeling badly about themselves. Like they start feeling weaker. Like, I don't know, they're already looking at a person or interested in a person, and they start feeling really bad about the person they are, about their character. They just seem to be really down on themselves. But once again, they can manifest this by acting overly confident, constantly criticizes another person. You may say something like, well, I know that new co-worker you're working with is really hot. They will actually bring them down, say negative things about them because they're trying to get you off the trail. And also they've just got a secret admiration for them. So they're trying not to let you into that at all. They criticize things about you that they once found appealing in you. They become offended by comments, however harmless they are, that you make. Like they make a big deal out of stuff. They stop paying attention to you and your children, and you'll start noticing usually with the children before many times you notice with yourself. They begin closing doors, like they're talking to someone else they don't want you to hear, or they'll find an excuse to go out so that they can talk to this person. They stop complimenting you on your looks. They stop saying little things like, I love you, or you mean the world to me, or I'm so grateful for you. They act guilty when you do something nice for them. And that's because they're already building up a case, probably talking to another person about how bad you are, everything you do wrong, how inattentive you are, all of these things. So when you do something nice for them, it gives them cognitive dissonance. Like, how can I do something that's going to be so hurtful to this person who is so nice to me? They turn the tables and accuse you of cheating when they have no evidence. They would rather spend time with their friends than with you. They show no interest in your relationship's future. Like when you talk about, where do you see us in 2 to 3 years? No interest. They don't even want to go there. They stop being affectionate, more interested in reading a book or watching television than actually having a talk with you or being close to you or cuddling with you. They frequently talk about problems a friend, a neighbor, or a coworker, course instructor, whoever of the opposite sex is having. So they're kind of opening up, letting you know they're talking to other people of the opposite sex that aren't you, but yet are in their life. They begin using new catchphrases because they're adapting to what this other person is already saying, or they're trying to fit into this other person's social circle. They pay less and less attention to your children. When your partner, your spouse, stops paying attention to his or her children, that is indicative that they are leaving the marriage emotionally. And if they're leaving emotionally, that's as dangerous, if not more, than physically. They've been acting distant and withdrawn. They seem disinterested and distracted during sex. They may seem startled or confused when awakened because they're fantasizing or dreaming about someone else. They won't tell you that. They're just more touchy because, they're hiding something, so they're going to be more vigilant about getting caught. Their behavior triggers friends to ask what's wrong. When your friends start saying, man, your partner, or, call them by name, their friends, is really changing, that is a wake-up call for you, because friends oftentimes will voice what has been present all the time, but you may have been blind to it. You didn't want to see it. They become offended easily when you make normal and natural inquiries about where they are, or any kind of demand about the kids' schedules. They go off. And their sleeping patterns change considerably. They're not sleeping well because when you start an affair, there's a change in your brain chemistry, and there's a dopamine and serotonin. Basically those are just dancing. They feel endorphins when they're around that person or even thinking about that person, and then that drops. And so those ups and downs make a person not be able to sleep. And plus, they're feeling guilty, they're feeling elated, they're holding a secret against the other person, you, in their bed, and they know what they're doing is wrong. And so all of these things disrupt their sleep, and many times they'll project that blame that they are too stressed at work, or they're too stressed with the kids, or whatever it is. If you notice 2 or 3 of these things, I would definitely start the talk. Be careful and don't accuse them, as I said before, because when you accuse them, you're going to cut down any kind of dialogue that could get started. Once again, you can fix a relationship. It's not a reason for divorce. If your partner is practicing or going or starting cheating or some kind of infidelity, but you need to be made aware of it so the two of you can come back together before it goes on for more than a month, and then it's really hard. The longer it happens, the longer the chance that you won't be able to get the marriage back on track. If this video is helpful for you, please subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much.